I will say, though, it's nice to have moms on both sides.
No, that's true.
Welcome to Inchworm,
The podcast in which we're inching through Worm. I'm Jenny.
and I'm Ted.
And we read, what did we read?
7.9.
Excellent.
Of Buzz.
It was a little disastrous,
Yeah.
but very short.
Also,
And I'm hoping
true.
it'll turn around. So, we'll see.
I mean, that's the idea. I have a little bit of meta worm lore about this chapter.
Go
do you
on.
want it up top? Or
Yeah,
should
no,
we save
tell
it
me
for
now.
the
I'm
end?
so curious.
This is one of the only chapters in Worm that was rewritten. Wildbow posted the chapter, I guess when he normally does. Initial feedback wasn't positive. He wasn't happy with it. He'd been writing it in a rush. So he stayed up all night, rewrote it, posted the new chapter.
Do you know anything about what was different?
I think that the main reason he rewrote it was due to overall quality. I think maybe there was more fighting, but it was like too much introduced all at once, and it was confusing,
just hard to follow.
and there were a
Maybe
lot of
that's why it's a little
descriptions
shorter. Yeah.
and things like that. But when he rewrote it, he did change what happened in the chapter because it was more interesting. I think he said in like a comment immediately after posting it, like, I just didn't want to write the same thing because that's boring to me. So why not change it up? But then, interestingly enough, both chapters are considered canon in a way. Even though the original chapter has basically been lost to time.
Oh, okay.
There were maybe like 50 people subscribed to email updates on his WordPress at the time. And he doesn't have a copy of it, but maybe there's somebody out there who has in their email, you know, they got sent the
but
text
the general
at some
community
point.
doesn't.
But yeah, I haven't read it. It's a lost
So there's
chapter.
a lost piece of canon.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I wonder, I mean, maybe it doesn't make sense to get into the exact differences of what happened. Maybe you don't even know.
I can characterize it for you.
Okay, I'm curious, is it a small enough difference that having them both be canon doesn't really affect anything going forward?
I am intentionally teasing you with this statement. We will circle back to it.
Well, maybe I should tell you what happened first.
At a certain point. But what I can say is that and again, this isn't why it was rewritten, but the Undersiders got into a much worse situation than this chapter in the one that was originally written.
Wow, I mean, they are in a pretty bad situation. So, worse. That is dire.
I feel like this is fair game to let you in on it because it's a fun fact, and also people who are reading along might have seen the original chapter and then seen it get replaced, and Wildbow comment, actually kind of they're both canon.
Yeah. Oof. Okay. Fascinating. I'm curious how the next chapter works with the original and with this one, if they're both canon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even that's an assumption, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like you can't have it be a dead end if it's part of canon. I don't know. We'll see.
Having gotten that little meta tidbit out of the way, do you want to tell our listeners what actually happened in the real second timeline version of the chapter?
Yeah. Okay, now my headcanon is that in the original chapter, they just all die. But, that's a timeline that is canon.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting to think about.
Okay, so we join our villain heroes. They're climbing onto the dogs. Taylor's very worried about Grue, and he's like, no, drop it. And she's like, that's what I kept saying to him about our relationship. Why did I introduce this tension to our friendship? Tattletale is texting Coil, who I guess is just telling them to be careful, and Grue's kind of hurrying them along. Taylor ends up alone on Angelica, and Angelica fortunately is following the others. They ride towards Purity, who is fighting midair with members of New Wave. Specifically, Lady Photon and her daughter and niece, Laser Dream and Glory Girl. There are some other battles going on nearby. Shielder is sort of protecting the ground from debris, and Flashbang and Brandish are fighting with him, or alongside him, rather. And Krieg, Victor, Othala, and Alabaster are fighting against them. And farther away are Night, Fog, Panacea, Vista, and Clockblocker. So there are just a lot of villains and heroes. I think the only people who are mentioned here are members of Empire 88, New Wave, and the Wards. I don't think we have any of the Protectorate here, unless I'm misremembering. I think
that's right.
So Tattletale steers the Undersiders away from the direction they were going in, saying it's safer, and a second later manpower is thrown through a wall. And the Undersiders are like, okay, we have to get up, we have to get Purity's attention. Seems like they really want to target her directly. So the dogs jump up onto a building and run into trouble because Purity has backup from Crusader and Rune. Rune specifically is someone who can lift and drop really, really heavy weights using telekinesis. She has huge chunks of building floating around. And Alec targets her and gets her to kind of slide to the edge of the block she's standing on. Taylor tells Alec not to kill her. And so Alec is like, find somewhere safe to land. I'm going to drop you in 3 seconds. She's super mad, but he does drop her. And then she drops a huge block onto them. The dogs have to kind of dodge, and then the building they're on starts to fall apart. So the dogs have to jump down. Taylor has to do some tricky maneuvering. She manages to convince Angelica to jump onto one of the moving blocks and then onto the ground. And they all end up safely in an alley, but it's not safe for long because Night and Fog come after them. And Fog does his Fog thing, and while they're distracted trying to keep Angelica from attacking the Fog, Night does something they can't see that really injures Brutus's side. She kind of bowls Brutus into the rest of them. And they're like, whoa, what the heck was that? And then she also moves super quickly around behind them, and Taylor's really baffled, and Tattletale explains. She says, imagine someone who can turn into something so horrifying that she has a psychological block where she can only do it when no one's looking at her. That's not really the case, but it's the closest I can come. So they're trying to keep their eyes on Night so that she can't become a monster or whatever it is that she does, because clearly she's very powerful. And then Night pulls out a flashbang grenade, and Tattletale says, Grue, you'd better protect us from that. But just as she's saying that, Grue crashes into Taylor's back like dead weight. He is in the process of passing out, basically, from blood loss. He ripped his stitches while the dogs were doing their maneuvering, getting away from the falling blocks of building. And now he is potentially out of commission, and the grenade is going off, or about to go off. And that's where we leave the Undersiders. They're about to get hit with a flashbang.
Well, yeah, this is a classic cliffhanger here.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I had that in my notes. I was like, unlike the last chapter, this one is pure cliffhanger.
It's going really bad. I don't know how they can get out of this one. They'll probably all die in this timeline, too.
The rest of the book is just blank pages, just meant to mislead us. So we know that Grue is kind of falling to the ground. We don't know that he's actually unconscious. Mm-hmm. I don't know to what extent his power takes energy from him. I don't know if it's he can kind of give a command, like how Taylor was calling the bugs to her while unconscious. He might be able to just sort of be oh, darkness, and then pass out, and that could work.
Right. Yeah, is he going to go down, but in a pool of darkness that keeps growing and growing? Right.
That's kind of my guess, because I think the flashbang would put them out of commission long enough for Night to kill them all. Maybe something else will happen, but I think Grue will come through for them. That seems like the easiest solution here.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, navigating Grue's darkness with Grue mostly unconscious is certainly an interesting wrinkle.
Well, especially because his darkness is actually a huge advantage for Night.
Yeah.
Normally Night uses fog, but now she'll also be able to use her enemy's ability to transform or whatever it is she does.
Yeah, and we just had Grue being awesome, and now he's a liability.
Yeah, that's so true. He's the reason they survived the last one, but now... And if he were conscious and able to direct his darkness, because he has very granular control over it, he could, dull the flashbang, but make sure that someone always has a sightline on Night. And with him unconscious, even if he's able to create darkness, the fact that he'll just be doing it indiscriminately without conscious control, or, without much control if he's just sort of vaguely conscious, is going to mean that Night can kind of do whatever she wants, and that's going to be a really big problem.
Could get dicey very quickly.
Yeah.
It's a great horror movie beat of like, oh, you take your eyes off of her for a second, and then suddenly here's Brutus. Brutus is their heaviest hitter, or one of the three heaviest hitters, and his side is all torn up and he gets thrown, right? Like how powerful and scary must Knight's secret form be?
I'm so pleased. I didn't exactly predict it. It's sort of how I interpreted the last scene where we saw her, which is basically that she's a weeping angel. She can't do anything powers-wise when you're looking at her.
Yes.
But take your eyes off her. Just don't blink, guys. Don't blink.
One of my favorite versions of this trope is from the movie Mystery Men, which is it's a comedy superhero. I think it's like a 1999, maybe early 2000s. But there's a character who can turn invisible, but only when nobody's looking. Which, of course, nobody believes until it comes through at a very clutch moment in the story.
Nice. Now, can they turn invisible and then stay invisible even when people look?
I remember it being a joke about it's like performance anxiety. So I don't remember, but I think it's like I can't turn invisible when I know people are watching me and waiting.
Yeah. That sounds kind of right. It feels like how magic works in the Scholomance, where if you don't believe in it and you're looking, it's much harder to do magic. But if you can just do magic while those people are distracted, then their doubt won't interfere with the magic.
Right. Yeah, what did you make of the dynamic where we get, okay, here's what's going on with Knight, and then Tattletale's like, well, not really, but it's kind of like that.
I was fascinated. I wasn't sure if it was that Tattletale doesn't know, like Tattletale doesn't know the real version, or if it's that Tattletale knows, but what she knows can't be put into words somehow, or she just has a vague sense, and so she's landed on this explanation, but she knows that there's actually some like more depth to it or something. Like I'm really not sure.
I wonder if it's something, like how we really struggled to understand what labyrinth meant when it was like, okay, well, your power, like, it's not hallucinations, it's real, but it's also not. Yeah. So I wonder if this is describing the effect of the power. She's a weeping angel. But whatever the mechanics of it are.
Lisa's like, maybe this is how it works. Oh, okay, that wasn't right, but that's as good an explanation as I
like
can
from the outside, you can treat her like this, but like whatever's actually going on, right? Like maybe she's not transforming, maybe she's doing, like it's.
I kind of love the idea that Lisa's like, okay, here's how it works, and then she says it, and she's like, I could tell while I was saying it that was wrong. Yeah. She hasn't quite figured it out yet, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Or at least she feels confident that don't take your eyes off of her, which seems to be the right advice.
Meanwhile, we have Fog, who it's unclear what he does other than turn into fog. He does create this sort of visibility shielding for Knight, and clearly they're kind of a pair, like they have matching outfits.
Yeah.
But also, when Taylor's bugs encountered Fog, they all just like died immediately. So it's unclear how much power Fog has on his own to inflict damage, but clearly it's some.
And we had Angelica yelp when she got enveloped by the fog, which made Bitch kind of startle. And so that's another sense, like similar to the bugs, there must be something extra going on there.
Painful, damaging, yeah. So Taylor's bugs are not super useful right now. Regent's power was great in this chapter. He knocked Rune off of her block. I don't know how much he can do against Knight, who seems to be like incredibly fast and like transforms maybe? Who knows?
And I don't know if Alec can do anything if he can't see you.
That's an interesting point.
Like if he knows that you're there, like if he can't see whatever this, 12-armed, 10-headed monster is, how does he know which arm to make twitch with his power?
Even if he can do something, it probably wouldn't be very effective if he doesn't really know what he's working with. Yeah, Grue is basically unconscious, and his power, while it will help against the flashbang, awful against Knight. Tattletale, unclear. I mean, she wouldn't be able to react fast enough to be like, oh, she's over there. Like, that's going to be too slow. And Taylor's bugs don't seem like they do that much against this huge monster, so they're really unfortunately matched in this one.
Right. And does bug perception block the transformation or not? That's a really interesting thing. Is it something about people looking versus literally anything looking?
That's a good question. I don't know if Taylor's bugs were near her before when she transformed and attacked Brutus.
I'm excited. I don't actually remember. I'm excited to see.
I feel like there are enough bugs in the world, even without a skitter, that if a bug looking at you stop the transformation? Like, she would never be able to transform.
You're right. I mean, that must be the answer.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I mean, bugs do have pretty bad vision, but yeah.
I mean, on the other hand, maybe I really don't think this is what happens, but maybe just Taylor gets her swarm online, they deal with fog, and just Night is stuck because she's covered in bugs.
But what can they do against fog?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's a good point.
I do wonder if Taylor puts bugs on her and Taylor is perceiving her through the bugs. That might be different than just a bug looking at her.
How would she know? I mean, it's wild. It's a wild thing to think about.
Right. Does it matter if Night knows?
Yeah.
Or is it all about, like, if Night thinks someone is looking at her, is that enough? If someone's looking at her and she doesn't know it, can she transform?
Right.
I suspect I don't know, because Lisa's explanation was that she has a mental block about it, but then Lisa said that wasn't right. So I'm inclined to just pick the opposite thing, where it's like, no, if someone's looking at her, even if she doesn't know it, she can't do the thing.
Yeah.
So maybe if Taylor coats her in bugs and is perceiving her that way, she won't be able to do the thing.
Could be a good loophole.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully Taylor will at least try it. Because she'll at least want to be able to track what she's doing.
Right. Yeah, definitely very intimidating villain pair. The sort of, the fact that they have like matching gray and black costumes that are simple, straightforward. They seem sort of like efficiently scary. And they're not grandstanding. They haven't said anything, right?
No,
they're just coming at them and doing damage.
I mean, they're the classic, like, scariest type of horror movie monster where you don't see them. Mm-hmm. You don't see what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Very much like the Undersiders.
Oh, true. They are very scary. Yeah, scary versus scary. I will say, because of Fog's name, I'm picturing them both wearing London Fog trench coats. I hope they are. It would be a good look for them.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, so we left them in this alley, about to get killed by Night. Presumably not, but you never know. This battle has so much else going on.
It's like by far the biggest cave fight we've seen yet. It's wild.
Probably, yeah. Right, because everyone was so split up fighting the ABB. We never saw everyone fighting at once, which was such a good idea on several fronts for Wild Bow and for, like, the story, where, like, we don't have to meet all of the villains at once, so we can get introduced to the characters more gradually. And, you know, we can still have surprises for this. And, like, he doesn't have these massive fights to write in that section, and they're, like, much more manageable.
Yeah.
And it means we still haven't seen most of Empire 88 in action.
Yeah. And most of New Wave, really.
And most of New... Oh, yeah. We
seen almost
none of New Wave.
Lady Photon and Laser Dream, but the rest of them just get named
before this, we had only seen Glory Girl and Panacea, like, really in the dark.
Yeah.
So to speak, about a lot of them. So I am curious. I hope that we do get to interact with more of them in this battle. Like, there's so many elements that could come into play. I'm also curious. So the Undersiders are here to fight Empire 88. Will New Wave and the Wards know that? And will they be able to tell that the Undersiders are effectively on their side in this? And will that mean that they won't target the Undersiders? Presumably they're practical enough to be like, purity is the problem, and the people defending purity are the problem. And okay, the Undersiders are also attacking purity. Great, we'll let them do it.
Yeah, like, I'm glad you called that out. That was something I was thinking about, but I wasn't sure, because it doesn't come up in the chapter.
Right.
But I'm very curious as to how, and especially how Glory Girl and Panacea will feel.
Oh, yeah.
Right, like, and how much have they relayed to the rest of their family, right? Like,
I mean, especially
that has not come
after,
up again.
Like, the gala just happened, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
How many days has it been? It's like, they just encased Glory Girl in foam. They just, I guess the Wards weren't there, but Glory Girl, I guess, was the only one of these people who was at that gala. But, like, there's some bad blood there. I think if Glory Girl ends up in an alley with the Undersiders, like, she's gonna take some blows.
Yeah. Unless
she's tactically minded enough to be like, I can't get distracted. I have to focus on the real threat to the city.
It doesn't matter, but weren't Vista and Clock Blocker there and foamed? Because weren't they like the heroes of the Bakata thing?
You're right. Yes.
I think it's just in that one paragraph they all got foamed.
You're so right. Yeah. And Gallant was there too.
Yeah.
I forgot that the Wards were there. Okay. So.
But still.
Yeah. So they're also going to be really mad, and they all have a grudge from the bank job. So...
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think hopefully they at least won't proactively come after the Undersiders instead of Empire 88, but I think if they end up next to each other, there might be some pot shots taken.
Right. Yeah, we haven't really seen that dynamic play out, and I'm very curious about it.
Right, because with the ABB, the heroes were kind of letting the villains do their thing.
It was like the heroes fight during the day, the villains fight at night. Yeah,
they were kind of turning a blind eye to the night fighting.
Right, everyone's out there.
Them. Yeah.
And to some extent, Purity asked for this because she said, Undersiders, Protectorate, come and get me.
Yeah, okay, that's true. So they at least know that she considers the Undersiders her enemy and that maybe they'll,
Well, I mean, we know that Coyle told Kaiser, but to the extent that people know about Tattletale, she does seem like the obvious person to have orchestrated this move, right?
That's true. That's true.
That's kind of what Tattletale was worried about, and what the Undersiders were all worried about immediately.
Yeah,
so I don't see why New Wave also wouldn't think that. But
right, well, they might not have put it together, but
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
They maybe still think she's psychic, which I guess could mean that she'd gotten this information. Yeah. I guess also when they fought the ABB, Coyle specifically negotiated with the heroes, saying we'll keep most of our activities lower key, so you can fight the ABB. We'll also be fighting the ABB.
And this is kicking the hornet's nest. It's intentionally more chaotic.
Right, and this hasn't had the specific, okay, Empire 88 is out of control. Heroes, we're going to help fight them. That hasn't happened. This only just burst onto the scene. Yeah, today. So, it'll be interesting to see. I feel like there could be some moments where, Glory Girl tries to attack, and the Undersiders are what are you, crazy? Purity is the real danger here. We're trying to stop her too. And Glory Girl's but I hate you guys.
That sounds great, though. I'd love to see that.
I mean, she just wants to throw a dumpster at everyone, right? Who should we talk about next?
I mean, I don't know. I guess there's definitely some Brian Taylor stuff to get into, but were there any other capes that we saw a little bit of or a lot of that you wanted
Rune.
To talk about more? Yep, Sabrina the Teenage Nazi.
Taylor said that and I laughed, and then I turned the page and Taylor's I was finding out that I wasn't one of the capes who was good at banter.
It's great. Taylor's being so hard on herself.
It's true. Sabrina the Teenage Nazi was funny, Taylor. It was funny. But also, it was really sad. I was a teenager who's fighting for Empire 88. It's getting them young. That really does suck that there are these capes who are bursting on the scene and being yes, I choose white supremacy. Because of their upbringing or just because of who they fell in with or because of their own inclinations. That really sucks.
Yeah. No, I know. Even in just editing the last episode, I feel I just having all of the people in Empire 88 get brutally taken out by Grue. I was just sort of listening to it and I was this is kind of good.
Yes, yeah.
Right? Taking these guys out of the commission, I feel my first instinct is to be oh, the violence. So, the people. It's I don't know. They made their choices.
I mean, Hook will... Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it really is true.
You know.
I mean, I remember, I think when we were talking about, I guess it was after the Purity interlude with, Nazis feel so much realer now. And I think you were passing on something Wildbow had said about, it's just, fair game to hate Nazis. And that is kind of what this setup is, that we hate these guys, and it is so satisfying to see any of them get taken out of commission. But there's so many of them. They're so powerful. We didn't even get to face off against Purity at this chapter.
I know.
Okay, so we saw Crusader, who creates ghostly versions of himself that can lift him up in the air.
Yeah.
Taylor's analysis of that was funny. She's kind of like an army of ghosts, if you want to be dramatic.
Right. I was more willing to peg them as some sort of semi-sentient force field molded in his shape, or some telekinetic energy infused with fragments of his ego. Whatever. It's just a great recurring bit from Taylor that some people want to, imbue non-superpower related supernatural stuff into their powers.
Yes, there's some magic, mystical element. Yeah.
And she's no, they're not ghosts. Ghosts aren't real. We know ghosts aren't real. Superpowers are real, but not ghosts.
But not ghosts. Yeah.
Yeah, and with Crusader and Rune, they are both aerial defense of Purity. And it totally makes sense. The reason they can't get to Purity in this chapter is she's just up high and she's blasting straight down. And Crusader and Rune are basically running interference, keeping anyone else from getting up there. So
against our friends Lady Photon, Laser Dream, and Glory Girl.
Yes.
It's funny. I feel with Lady Photon and Laser Dream are a few of those. I was oh, but I already predicted that power. And it turns out Lady Photon and Laser Dream have basically the same power.
Yeah.
And also sort of Glory Girl.
Yeah, right. It's different force field bubbles.
Yeah, well, so Taylor says mother and daughter, which I think is Lady Photon and Laser Dream, share the same general powers, flight, the ability to raise force field bubbles around themselves, and the ability to project lasers from their hands.
Right.
And Glory Girl seems to have the sort of Alexandria package of like flight and strength and invulnerability, but really she has flight, the force field bubble, and then super strength instead of lasers, I guess.
Right.
But that's the only difference.
Right.
And I'm so fascinated by this thing where it's not just having a superpower, but also specific superpowers run in families.
Yeah.
Because all of the trigger events we've seen so far have been related to the power that resulted.
Right.
Where, you know, Taylor feels as like a gross, like little crawly thing and she can control bugs. And Brian like feels like cold and like produces this sort of sensation deadening fog. And I'm curious whether that just doesn't apply if you have a parent who's a cape or two parents who are capes, where it's just like you kind of do just inherit your power and then you just need something small to trigger it.
It's sort of the like legacy or privilege angle on it. Right.
Yeah. Or it's possible that people have the potential genetically to get a certain type of power, and then you have to have a trigger event that relates to that in order to get it. Like maybe Taylor could have had 10 potential trigger events, but it needed to be something that related to the ability to control small creatures before it would actually kick in for her.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably you just inherit your actual powers. But yeah. I don't know if it's the potential to have powers is generally genetic, or if it's just once you have it, you can then pass it on.
Right.
And it's not like the people who get it, whose parents don't have it, will also have a gene or something.
Right.
Yeah, it's just, it raises a lot of questions.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's a good thread to pull on or thing to keep an eye on.
Well, because we have this recurring thing about like, where do powers come from? Can they be created artificially?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, if we see other people in families or...
Yeah, why did they steal Aster? What's
we're
going
talking
on with
about
that?
Aster.
Yeah.
Right. Certainly, we know that Aster's parents both have very strong powers.
Yeah.
So, if that is kind of an indicator, that does seem like...
Yeah, it's a straightforward reason to
when
want
she's
her.
older, if she gets powers, she'll
right,
probably
especially
be
if
strong.
it's you get the specific power. It's like, we don't want another Purity.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of Purity and her offspring, we had another superhero mom situation here.
Well, yeah, Photon Mom.
I have so many feelings about that, much like Lady Photon does. Yeah, so Taylor says, you know, she'd named herself Lady Photon. She's the leader of New Wave. But in the wake of New Wave's founding and the revealing of their secret identities, the media had latched onto the idea of a superheroine mom and dubbed her Photon Mom. It was apparent to anyone who followed Cape News that the name really bugged her. Which it should. The reduction of women to motherhood is a huge problem.
Yeah.
And the fact that she's like, yes, I'm founding this new approach to superheroism. We are New Wave and I'm the leader. And they're like, you're a mom. It's like so insulting and like belittling and just trying to reduce her to that one characteristic when that's like not the thing that she's doing. She's like leading this organization.
If it's just such a good, it feels so true. Like an indictment of celebrity culture or tabloid culture or something. Yeah. Right? I can just see the New York Post headline, Photon Mom, blah, blah, blah.
Oh my gosh. Also, Photon Mom is a dumb name.
But that's kind of why it's great.
Yeah.
I will say, though, it's nice to have moms on both sides.
No, that's true. That's true. And the inclusion of this whole thing where it's like, she clearly hates being called Photon Mom makes me feel better about the inclusion of Purity as someone who's just like so monomaniacally a mom.
Yeah.
As like, it feels like the text is a little bit self-aware about that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think in many of these tropes, it's very... You have both Wildbow being aware and wanting to use them, and also Taylor not necessarily being the most trope-savvy person or self-aware person in the world. Right.
She's very skeptical of many things, but not necessarily trope-savvy.
Someone did respond on Tumblr about the mom stereotype thing, and brought up, like, Liam Neeson in Taken, or these other kind of like, you know, like dads who will do anything and will tear down the whole world just to get back their
maybe
wife or
we've
daughter.
Gotten more of those recently. Maybe we're.
But I do feel like there's an angle on it where like a villain dad versus like a heroic mom. I feel like there's a hero villain as well as a gender dynamic.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it is kind of nice to have it like, and it makes her a villain. The fact that she's... Yeah, it's clear that this trope doesn't only ever go in one direction.
Yeah, I mean, just a couple of other little power things. I like that Tattletale's doing recon with her power throughout.
I was very entertained by Shielder, who makes force fields.
Yeah.
Couldn't come up with a better name, Shielder.
Yeah.
Did I predict
Probably
Shielder?
got in early,
did I
or
say
maybe
force
too late.
Fields?
I'm sure you did.
What else would you say?
Yeah.
What a terrible name.
Yeah.
I'm offended by the boringness of that name. Not, like, offended by the text. I'm offended by Shielder the character. And
Having been more original.
think they're probably a really boring person.
I love it. I can't wait for the Shielder interlude. It'll be so tedious to be inside this guy's head.
No, Shielder's probably the most fascinating character once we get to know them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There's some other, I think, brief power descriptions, but nothing else that really stood out.
Yeah, I assume we'll get to see more of these people soon. Yeah. So, let's see. Do we have any interesting Undersider stuff to talk about?
What did you think about the reminder to Regent not to kill Rune?
Yeah, I am curious whether it was necessary or not. He didn't really react, did he?
No.
He was
he's kind of like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and so I'm not sure if it's like, he would have been happy to kill her, but is like, yeah, sure, I don't care about killing her. I'm happy to not kill her, too. He didn't seem annoyed as if he was like...
He says, right.
So do you think maybe he was just like, oh, right, I don't kill people anymore? Like... I feel like it's hard to really read anything into it. He's still such a cipher in that way. Where, like, he didn't react in an annoyed way. He's like, obviously I'm not going to kill her, you know. Or he wasn't like, oh, fine, I won't kill her. Like, it was just like
it does feel sort of, and I feel like Taylor's just being a little bit of a backseat driver.
Yeah,
being like, but if you knock her down now, she'll die, so don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, so we didn't get much reaction from Alex, so I'm still very intrigued by him now that we know his backstory. Yeah. I'm like, no, give me more. Yeah. We also had, I think you were saying, some Taylor Bryan moments at the beginning.
Well, that's kind of the main thread through the chapter, is it starts out with Taylor being like, Brian, are you okay? And he's like, yeah. She's like, no, are you really okay? And he's like, drop it. Yeah. And then at the end, he passes out. Yeah. Not okay.
Yeah, he was really not okay. I feel like some of the shortness of, like, drop it is like, he's really not okay, and he knows it. But, like, they have to do this. They need him. So he's gonna do it, and he doesn't need Taylor, like, bugging him, the whole time.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It feels very, like, toxic masculinity coded, that Brian is like being tough and
okay,
Taylor's
but don't you think Taylor would do the exact same thing?
Yes, I was going to get to that. No, that's a great point. That's a great point. But at least reading it, maybe it's just how I picture Brian. I don't know that it's fair. Maybe I'm projecting onto him. But I definitely felt like, sort of like, oh, you should admit that this isn't going to work out. Like, instead of saying drop it, doing the Taylor, which is explaining in a lot of detail. Like, oh, no, I'm not okay, but I have to do this. So you're going to stop bothering me about it.
No, right? That is fair, but that doesn't sound like him.
No, it doesn't sound like him. And you're absolutely right that there is no alternative. Like, he's not going to stay behind. His power's too good.
Right, they're not going to not fight purity.
Yeah. And if anything, Taylor was the one, like, pressuring him to get involved in the first place.
Maybe that's part of why she's annoyed. He's like, I'm doing this so that I'll be a good person like you wanted me to be.
Right.
So stop asking me if I'm up for it.
Right. So really, Taylor should know all of this that we just said. So why is she bothering him about it so much?
That's a good question. I mean, it's just anxiety coming out as words. Like, she's worried that he's not going to be okay. Yeah. And, I mean, that does imperil all of them, as it does at the end of this chapter, if he's not okay. Right. So, yeah. I mean, maybe it's just some of her wanting the reassurance and some of her protective instincts, I think. Yeah. Because she does... I think she feels guilty also about, like, pushing them into this fight where maybe Brian isn't totally up for it and, you know, she's worried about imperiling him.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
She's seeing the cost of doing business in a really, really unpleasant way, which is like, oh, he's actually really hurt. Like, and this could go badly.
Yeah.
And her anxiety about the bad outcomes.
Her thing where she immediately pulls her top off to put her costume on to be like, we have to go fight Purity. And that does imperil her fellow capes.
Yeah.
And now she's like, ooh, I feel uncomfortable about that.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to make sure he's okay again. But, like, she's not telling him not to go. She's not saying they shouldn't go. So, like, it's kind of empty question.
Right. There were some other good beats of Taylor's role, right? So you mentioned, I think, when they're getting on the dogs, she has this moment of like, well, I could get on with Brian, but Angelica's still totally alone, so I'll get on there. And then
it's less awkward.
Tattletale snaps to attention and she jumps on the dog with Brian. So Taylor is left alone, which I really liked.
Yeah, and she does really well with Angelica.
Yeah, that was a fun moment.
Manages to communicate to Angelica. I was hoping she would do something cooler than just get safely to the ground when she's like, no, I have a better option. It was like, oh, it was just a better option to do what the others did. Okay, fine.
I do like, I mean, this has been consistent throughout Worm. I just love the physical pain that they're in and the way it carries over from chapter to chapter. Like, Taylor's still sore, her legs are sore, Brian was cut up, his stitches are coming out, right? Yeah. Like, I feel like every fight Taylor's been in, it has left lingering pains and aches and bruises and scrapes and marks in future chapters. And the damage is just going up gradually over time. So it's a great way to keep the tension up.
I am hoping they end up, like, Brian passes out, they put him on a dog, they get away, they end up fighting next to Panacea, and she heals Brian just so he can, like, cover their retreat or something. That's what I want.
That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, because if it's established they're on the same side, I mean, why not? It's not, you know, a life-changing thing for Brian. It's just like, oh, we're just healing your wounds from this battle so that you can continue.
I mean, it would be very big of her after the way they left things.
I know. Well, she was never fighting Brian, though.
That's true. She was there. She would have seen the darkness, but then he went outside right away.
Right.
It's not personal the same way it is with Taylor and Lisa.
And she wasn't at the gala, so she doesn't have quite the same gut level aversion to him, presumably. But he is obviously with Taylor and Lisa, so, yeah. But I want that. I think that would be really fun.
It's a good prediction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I had much else. I liked the brief note that Lisa fills in Coil. So, like, we didn't get a lot of the plan at the beginning of the chapter. That all happened off screen.
Right.
I thought it was interesting that there isn't more to that conversation. Like, I guess it's good that he's in the loop. We don't know. Yeah. And I feel like this arc has been so much just stuff escalating and, like, happening all at once. Other than that initial conversation, Taylor hasn't done any reflecting on, like, Coil and the deal and, like, what this all means for things. So it's interesting that we still haven't gotten any follow-up on that.
Okay, here's my sort of out there prediction. I want New Wave to side with Coil.
Whoa.
I think that would just be so fun if he manages to convince them that, like, no, I'm going to do the right thing for this city. Or if Panacea defects.
Ooh.
The thing is, she would never do that while Glory Girl is still on the other side. So something would have to happen to Glory Girl, which it could. But, I mean, it's been a while since we've seen Panacea, but we did talk a lot about how she has villain potential.
Yeah.
Her situation is not tenable. And I think working for someone who she thinks is making the world better, but not in the same ethos that she's been trying to follow thus far, could be really psychologically relieving for her.
Yeah.
So,
do you think it goes better or worse for her if her whole family defects along with her?
It's probably better for her if Glory Girl defects. It might, I don't know, if the whole family defects, she sort of still has the same problem she's always had, where she feels like her family doesn't actually want her or love her except for Glory Girl.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'd have to see more of them, I think.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun having them come back to the story, even if they're just a couple names on a page.
But presumably we're going to see them more. I mean, this
soon.
Fight has only just started.
Yeah.
Although, I'm curious how many chapters are left in this arc, because this feels like a big fight. And we're already 9 chapters into the arc. How long is this arc going to be? I mean, maybe it's going to be long.
Who knows?
Yeah. We do have, I guess, Buzz 7.10 next.
Yeah. I won't tell you how many chapters are left.
Ugh.
But we're not finished yet. There's at least one more.
And I think it's going to end with either them taking Purity down or somehow the battle ending. But, we're going to have another battle against her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or she kills them all,
Or she kills them all.
And then we get a third timeline that's also canon. Yeah, I'm excited to see the rest of this battle. There are so many more elements that could come into play.
Do you want to hear how the next chapter starts?
I do.
Whether I shut my eyes or suffered the
blinding effect of the flashbang. That's interesting. Right, because the thing is, whether she lets herself be blinded by the flashbang or she shuts her eyes, she'll be taking her eyes off of Night. So no matter what happens, Night is going to get a window to attack them.
That's the thrust of the first paragraph.
That sounds like the thrust. So yeah, I mean,
could be good. Yeah. I think
that Grue will manage to do some darkness, but maybe not strategically enough.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll see.
Dicey.
I think probably what's going to happen is that someone else is going to have to enter the fight with them, like, almost immediately.
Yeah.
Like Glory Girl or someone is going to have to attack Night.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Glory Girl's pretty busy, but maybe it's someone else.
Undersiders finally lose. I mean, they got bailed out at the end of Arc 6, too, so that's also
it's
kind
a
of the theme with the
fight.
Escalating stakes.
They're allowed to capitalize on others' interference.
That's true. Right.
Yeah.
Night and Fog are attacking the Undersiders, which means they're not attacking whoever's going to come save them, so...
Right, yeah. It's not a simple, sports game here. It's a complex battlefield. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to read about it.
Me too. We're getting into it, Jenny. It's going to be a really good run through the end of the year.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Really good as in it's not going to torture me. It's going to be fun, right? Right?
I think, why not both?
Oh, man. Okay, well, I can't wait to find out what the story is about.
Who can say?
You probably, but you won't.
But I won't.
All right, well, hopefully we'll find out a little bit more next time.
On Inchworm. Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.